Two hearts, one humanity. The smallest force, strongest bond. The station floated in silent space, like a city that never slept. Long halls curved around a bright core. Lights moved slowly, calm and clean. Ships of many shapes rested in their docks. Voices from many worlds mixed into one low sound like a distant sea. Humans had arrived only 2 days ago. They were not impressive. Their ship was small and old compared to others. Its surface was marked with repairs, not decorations. When it docked, few beings stopped to watch. Most did not care. Some smiled in quiet ways that were not kind. The galaxy knew humans now, but not well. They were new. They were few. They had no great weapons, no ancient fleets, no stories of conquest. Other species spoke of them as helpers, builders, and talkers. Useful, but not important. Eli walked through the main corridor with a slow step. He carried a tool case that looked heavy. He was not tall. His clothes were simple and worn. He watched the walls, the signs, the people. He listened more than he spoke. Beside him walked Mira. She moved with purpose. Her eyes stayed on faces. She noticed pain, fear, tired steps. A small bag rested on her shoulder. Inside were medical tools meant for humans, but she had already learned how to change them for others. They did not wear uniforms that showed power. Only a small symbol on their sleeves marked them as human. They reached a wide hall filled with light. This was where the council met. Large beings stood near the center, speaking loudly. Their voices echoed. Smaller ones stayed back, waiting. Eli and Mira stopped at the edge. No one greeted them. A tall figure with shining skin glanced their way, then looked away. Another laughed softly. A third waved a hand as if brushing away dust. Mira did not react. Eli lowered his eyes and checked a screen on his wrist. They waited. After a long moment, a signal sounded. The meeting began. Words filled the air. Power, trade, borders, strength. Humans were not asked to speak. They stayed quiet. Time passed. Then the lights flickered. At first, no one worried. Stations were large. Small failures happened. But then the flicker became a shake. A deep sound moved through the floor. Silence fell. The lights went out. Darkness swallowed the hall. Shouts followed. Different voices, sharp and afraid. Emergency lights turned on, weak and red. Eli felt the floor tilt. Mira grabbed his arm. "What was that?" she said. He shook his head. "Not normal." Another sound came, closer this time. Metal screamed. Something heavy broke far away. A voice echoed from the station speakers. It was broken and unclear. System failure. Defense offline. Please remain calm. No one remained calm. Large beings pushed forward. Smaller ones were knocked aside. Panic spread fast. Eli and Mira moved back toward the wall. Then, the air changed. Mira felt it first. Her skin grew cold. Her breath felt thin. Eli looked at a nearby panel. Lines of data rushed across it. "This is an attack," he said. From above, something fell. A guard was thrown against the floor. Armor broken. Smoke filled the hall. Shapes moved in the dark. Silent. Fast. They were not here to talk. Beams of hard light cut through the air. Walls burned. Screams rose. The strongest species tried to fight. Their weapons were big and slow. The attackers were faster. The hall became chaos. Eli pulled Mira into a side passage. "This way," he said. They ran. Behind them, the council hall burned. The passage was narrow and dim. The floor shook as distant explosions echoed. They reached a door. It was sealed. Eli dropped his case and opened it. Tools spread across the floor. His hands moved fast, calm. He connected wires, cut others. The door opened with a groan. They entered a storage area filled with crates. Inside, dozens of beings hid. Some were wounded. Some cried. Some stared in shock. Mira moved at once. She knelt beside a small figure with a bleeding leg. She cleaned the wound and wrapped it. She spoke softly, even though the being did not understand her words. Her voice was enough. Eli checked the room. "This area is not safe," he said. "We need to move." A tall being stepped forward. Its voice shook. "Where is security?" Eli looked at the broken lights. "Gone," he said. Fear spread. Another explosion shook the room. Dust fell from the ceiling.
Eli pointed to a small service tunnel. "We can go through there."
"It leads to the lower systems." The tall being hesitated. "That area is restricted." Eli met its eyes. "Then stay," he said. He turned and helped Mira guide the wounded into the tunnel. One by one, others followed. The tunnel was dark and tight. Some could barely fit. Eli went first, using a small light. Mira stayed near the back, helping those who slowed. A child cried. Mira stopped. She held the child close until the sound faded. Behind them, the station groaned. They reached a junction. 3 paths split. Eli studied a map on his screen. "The left path is damaged," he said. "The right path leads to open space." "What about the middle?" Mira asked. Eli paused. "It is old, not used, no power." She nodded. "Then we use it." They entered the dark. Without power, the air was cold. Breath showed. Steps echoed. Far away, a sound followed them. Footsteps. Eli turned off his light. They froze. The footsteps passed the junction and moved away. Mira released a breath. It continued. Hours felt like minutes. Or maybe minutes felt like hours. At last, they reached a wide room filled with machines. Some still worked, blinking weakly. "This is the backup core," Eli said. "If I can bring it online, we might restore life support to nearby sections." He moved to a console. Mira checked the group. Many were injured. Some were in shock. She used her last pain relievers. "Eli," she said softly, "we can't stay long." "I know," he said. "Just a little time." He worked fast. Then the sound came again, closer. The attackers had found them. A door burst open. Light flooded in. Tall shapes stepped through, smooth and silent. Their weapons hummed with power. The group screamed. Eli stood between them and the people. He had no weapon. Mira stood beside him. The attackers paused. They studied the humans. One stepped forward. It raised its weapon. Suddenly, the room shook. Lights flared. Power surged. Eli had done it. The machine behind him roared to life. The attacker stumbled. Alarms screamed. Doors slammed shut. The attackers were locked inside another section. Silence followed. The group stared at Eli. "You saved us," someone whispered. Eli shook his head. "Not yet." Mira checked the systems. "We have air," she said. "But not much time." A message appeared on Eli's screen. "Unknown signal detected." He frowned. "This is bad," he said. Mira looked at him. "How bad?" "They are not just attacking," he said. "They are testing." A chill filled the room. "Testing what?" she asked. Eli looked at the people around them. Different shapes, different worlds. "Us," he said. Far away, deep in space, unseen eyes watched the station. And for the first time they noticed the humans. The station was half alive now. Only sections with backup power hummed quietly. Red emergency lights painted the walls with a weak glow. Smoke drifted in the air from fires long extinguished. The group of humans and aliens moved cautiously through the halls. Every sound was loud in the silence. Every shadow could hide danger. Eli led the way. He carried a small tool case, open and ready. Mira walked behind him, checking the injured and helping anyone who struggled. They had gained the trust of some aliens, but not all. Many watched from corners, fear in their eyes, unsure who to follow. The humans were small, weak and unarmed, yet they moved with purpose. That puzzled many. In one hall, a tall alien with armored limbs whispered to Mira, "You think they will survive this?" Mira looked at him, her eyes calm. "They survive because they must," she said, "and because some humans never stop trying." The alien shivered, not from cold, but from disbelief. Humans did not sound certain, yet they acted like they were. That made a strange kind of courage. Eli stopped at a junction. "Left leads to the storage decks," he said. "Right leads to the main core. The enemy has blocked most routes. We go where we can help." He motioned to the group to follow. Steps echoed in the empty hall. Some small creatures hid behind crates and pipes. Others limped forward with support. Every step was careful, calculated, yet fast. The enemy could return at any moment. The left path was narrow. Old maintenance doors lined the walls. Dust and rust covered everything. Some doors creaked as the group passed. A small alien child tripped. Mira caught it. "Easy, little one." "We are here," she said softly. The child clung to her side, terrified but calm in her presence. That was the human way. Comfort before fear. Suddenly, a deep vibration shook the floor. Machines far away groaned. The lights flickered. Everyone froze. Eli whispered, "Not them yet." Something else. The walls vibrated again. Small cracks appeared. Loose panels fell from the ceiling. The group moved faster, knowing the station might not hold. Panic rose in some, but the humans kept it down. They set an example by staying calm. Eli reached a blocked door. Thick metal had bent in a strange angle. Sparks flew from a control panel nearby. He knelt and pulled out his tools. Mira and the group waited, tense. Eli worked methodically, cutting wires, connecting power, testing circuits. Sweat ran down his face, but his hands did not tremble. Others whispered in amazement. This small human knew the station in ways larger beings never did. He seemed to see paths where none existed. A sound came from above. Heavy footsteps. They were not walking like the previous attackers. These were deliberate, systematic. They were coming for them. Mira motioned for silence. She led the injured closer to the wall, hidden from sight. The footsteps grew louder. Shadows moved past vents above. A soft humming came from the walls, a sign that the attackers had technology different from anything the station held. The footsteps paused. One figure stepped into view. It was taller than anyone else here. Smooth black armor covered its body. Its eyes glowed faint red. The weapon it carried was long and strange. It looked like a spear, but energy ran along it, humming with power. It scanned the hall slowly, clearly searching. No one moved. Breath held. The figure passed. Then it stopped, turned, looked back at them, and walked away. Eli exhaled slowly. "They are testing," he said. Mira nodded. "Every step we take, every life we save, is being watched. That is why we must move carefully." The group pressed forward, through narrow tunnels that twisted and turned. Some passages were too low for larger aliens. They had to bend or crawl. Others had debris that could fall at any moment. The station seemed to fight them, as if it were alive. Hours passed. The group reached a larger deck filled with machinery still working. Fans turned slowly, cooling the remaining systems. Screens flickered with alerts and warnings. Eli moved to a panel, tapping at keys. "I can patch this section into our temporary network," he said. "It will give us more time, maybe hours, but we must act fast. The enemy will return, and they will be smarter now." Mira checked the injured again. No one had died yet. That small success lifted spirits, but tension remained. A young alien, small and frail, approached Mira. "Why do you help them?" he asked. Mira looked at him. "Because they are alive. Because it is right. Because waiting for someone else will cost more lives." The alien nodded slowly, unsure if he understood fully, but he felt the truth in her words. That was the human way. Action over words, kindness over fear. Even the strongest could not ignore it. Eli tapped on another console. The enemy uses drones to watch. They will adjust their attack if we show weakness. We must do something unexpected. Mira looked at him. What do you have in mind? He smiled faintly. We use what they cannot see coming. Small teams. Every human here knows to act alone if needed, but together, if possible. They are learning. We teach them confusion. The group divided. Humans went with aliens who could follow quickly. Each small team took a different path. Eli stayed with Mira and a few injured ones, moving toward a service shaft that ran close to the lower core. The walls here were cold, metal thick, pipes running everywhere. Steam hissed from leaks. Every sound was magnified. They had to move carefully. Suddenly, a loud crash came from above. The floor shook. A section of the ceiling collapsed somewhere near the center of the station. Dust and debris filled the air. Mira helped a small alien up.
Keep moving,
she whispered. Eli kept his tools ready, cutting a beam that blocked their path. They moved as fast as they could, knowing that one wrong step could trap them forever. The service shaft opened into a room lined with old control panels. Most were offline, but some still glowed faintly. Eli went to a terminal. I can redirect the energy from here, he said. It is risky. If I make a mistake, we could lose power for this deck entirely. Mira looked at the group. It is the only chance, she said. Do it. Eli worked quickly. He connected lines, rerouted power, and tested circuits. Sparks flew. Alarms beeped. One console exploded in a flash. Mira shielded the group. A young alien screamed, but no one was hurt. In minutes, the systems hummed steadily. Lights flickered back, stronger than before. The group cheered quietly. Survival seemed possible again. Then came a new sound. Footsteps, faster this time. Not one figure, but many. They were coordinating, not moving randomly. The humans could hear metal scraping metal, weapons activating. Eli grabbed Mira. They know we are here. Time is short. They moved down another tunnel, deeper into the station. The walls were narrower, forcing the large aliens to bend. Some injured could barely walk. Mira supported them. Every step was careful, yet urgent. The group reached a junction where 3 paths split. Eli checked a map. Left is blocked, right leads to maintenance grids. Middle is old service tunnels, less stable, but safe from drones.
We go middle.
They moved. The middle path was dark and tight. Pipes overhead hissed. Old machinery groaned. Dust fell from the ceiling. A small alien tripped. Mira lifted it gently. We are almost there, she said. The child clung to her, trusting her completely. Eli scanned the walls with a small light, noticing cracks, weak supports. Every small detail mattered. Suddenly, a shadow moved. Fast. Eli froze. Mira motioned for everyone to hide. The shadow passed, then returned. Red lights glowed faintly in the distance. The enemy was watching. They had learned to track by movement, by sound, even by fear. The humans waited. The others held their breath. The shadow vanished. Eli whispered, They are testing patience now. They want us to make mistakes. Mira nodded. Then we wait, together. Small groups survive by staying calm. The group pressed on slowly. The path ended in a small control room. Consoles lined the walls. Eli checked the systems. I can use this to monitor the rest of the deck. It will help us avoid patrols and find survivors. Mira tended to the group again. She cleaned wounds, calmed fears. Some small aliens hugged her legs, not knowing why. Humans had that effect. They inspired trust without commanding it. From the vents above, a faint sound hummed. Drones. Small, silent, deadly. They moved to scan the room. Eli and Mira quickly turned on monitors showing the path behind. The drones could not see them through the shadows. They waited. Minutes passed. The drones left. The humans breathed again. We are not safe, Eli said. But we are alive. That is what matters now. Mira nodded. We move at first chance. Help as many as we can before they come back. Hours became almost a day. The group rested briefly. Food was minimal. Water was rationed. Fear was constant. Yet every human kept moving forward. Every human acted. No one gave up. The other aliens began to notice. They began to imitate, not perfectly, not always successfully, but they tried. Then came the sound that chilled everyone, a deep vibration through the walls. The ceiling shook. Warning lights blinked red. Power surged. And a message appeared on the monitor: unknown origin. This species is interesting, adaptation noted.
Observing further, Eli looked at Mira.
She looked back. They are learning, he said. Every choice we make, every act of help, every small step is being watched. We are teaching them something they cannot understand. Mira nodded. Then we teach carefully, and we survive. Far away, in a dark, silent space, eyes watched. Machines recorded, calculated, and analyzed. But one thing could not be measured: humanity. The strange, small, fragile species that moved not for power, not for conquest, but for life, and for others. The humans did not know the full danger yet. The enemy had only begun their test. But the first lesson was clear. In the galaxy of strength and fear, humans survive by being unlike any other. And that survival was only the beginning. The station trembled. Broken lights flickered across walls scarred by fire. Smoke curled from vents and machinery groaned under the weight of damage. The humans moved carefully through the narrow corridors, leading their small group of aliens toward safer zones. Every step was tense. Every shadow could hide death. Eli checked the map on his wrist again. The enemy had blocked most exits, but some old service tunnels still led deeper into the station. The tunnels were dangerous. Old metal could collapse, steam pipes could burst, and structural walls might give way. Yet they had no choice. To stay in one place was to die. Mira moved behind the group. Her hands rested gently on shoulders, calming those who were frightened. Injured aliens leaned on her for support, and even the small ones clung to her side. "We must move," she said softly. Her voice carried a calm authority that no one could refuse. Even the large aliens who had once mocked her followed without question. The path twisted and narrowed. One of the large aliens stumbled. Mira caught him quickly, whispering encouragement. Eli moved ahead, scanning with a small light. He noticed weak panels on the ceiling. Pipes above hissed, leaking steam. Sparks jumped from broken wires. Every detail mattered. One misstep could crush them all. Hours passed. Slowly, painfully, they advanced. The station moaned around them, as if alive, as if it were testing their resolve. Eli glanced at Mira. "We can't help everyone," he said quietly. "We must decide who we can save first." Mira stopped and looked at him sharply. "We save those who need us most. That is all we can do. You cannot choose for me." He nodded.
I know, but time is short.
Decisions will have to be made. They reached a room filled with debris and broken machinery. Several wounded aliens lay unconscious. Mira knelt beside them, assessing injuries. Some were minor, some severe. One small alien child had a deep gash on the arm. Blood stained her fur. Mira pressed cloth to the wound, wrapping it tightly. The child whimpered but did not cry. "Eli," Mira said, "the injured are too many. We have to leave some behind if we want to move." He clenched his jaw. "I can't leave them. Not yet." "You must," she said firmly.
If we stay, we all die.
Eli looked around. The enemy could return at any moment. Drones would scan the room, find them, and strike. The choice was brutal, but the humans had faced impossible decisions before. Their species survived by making the hardest choices calmly. A low rumble echoed through the station. Dust fell from the ceiling. The enemy was near. They would not wait. Eli made a decision. We take the child and the wounded, we can move. Others hide.
I will mark their location and return if possible. Mira helped carry 2 of the wounded.
The group moved toward a narrow service shaft that led deeper into the station. Every step was careful, every breath controlled. They were small, fragile, yet their determination gave them strength beyond size or weaponry. Suddenly, a metallic screech rang out. The enemy had found another path to intercept them. Shadows moved fast along the walls. Red lights glowed in the distance. The attackers were closer than before. Eli motioned for silence. Mira signaled the group to hide in a side alcove. The enemy passed, scanning with energy beams that hummed like bees. The humans and aliens held their breath, waiting. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Then the shadows moved on.
Too close, Eli whispered. We must move faster.
The group pressed forward. They entered a maintenance tunnel that sloped downward. Water dripped from pipes. Rusted panels shook. Some of the aliens slipped, nearly falling into deep shafts below. Mira caught them just in time. One of the injured coughed violently. She handed a small mask from her bag. Breathe slow. We are almost there. Eli paused at a junction. 3 paths split before them. One led to a dead-end storage room. Another led to partially flooded maintenance decks. The third, old and narrow, led closer to the lower core. This way, he said, pointing to the narrow path. The group moved. The tunnel narrowed further. Some had to crawl. Dust and rust fell constantly. Every sound echoed. Every shadow could hide an enemy. Then came a soft sound above, almost a whisper, a hum, faint and mechanical. Drones. Small, fast, deadly. They moved carefully, scanning the halls. Eli led the group into a shadowed alcove. Mira gathered the injured, keeping them quiet. The drones passed, unaware of the humans. Hours passed. They reached a larger room with weakly lit panels and half-working machinery. Eli moved quickly to a control terminal. I can patch this deck into our network, he said. It will give us more time, maybe hours, but we must act fast. Mira knelt beside a small alien child who shivered with fear. She wrapped her arms around the child. We are safe here, for now, she whispered. You are not alone. Eli worked with tools, connecting lines, bypassing broken circuits. Sparks flew. Alarms beeped faintly. One panel exploded. Mira shielded the group. Some small aliens screamed but were unharmed. In minutes, systems hummed again. Air flowed steadily. Lights flickered back. Survival seemed possible. But the enemy did not stop. Footsteps came again, louder this time. Many moving together, weapons humming. They were smarter now, coordinating. Eli grabbed Mira. They are coming. We cannot stay.
They moved down another narrow corridor.
Some of the larger aliens had to bend or crawl. Injured ones struggled, but Mira helped them. Every step was urgent, every breath measured. A small alien whispered, "Why do you keep moving, even when we are so small?" Mira looked at the child, because staying is death, moving is hope. That is all we have.
Eli paused. They are not just attacking.
They are testing us. Every choice, every act of help, every small step, they are watching. Mira nodded. Then we survive by being ourselves, by being careful, and by helping those who cannot help themselves. The group reached a junction. One path led to a flooded deck, another to a collapsed section. The last, narrow and dark, led toward the main control core. Eli pointed. We go to the core. It is risky, but if we can reach it, we can control more of the station and protect others. The corridor twisted, sloping downward. Pipes above hissed. Rust fell like rain. Some of the group stumbled. Mira caught them. Eli led steadily, scanning every corner, every shadow. Suddenly a shadow moved in the distance. Red lights glowed faintly. Energy weapons hummed softly. The enemy was close. The humans froze. Mira motioned for silence. The shadows passed without notice. Eli whispered, They are learning patience. They want us to make mistakes. Mira replied, Then we do not make any. We survive together. The group pressed on deeper into the station. The path narrowed further. Dust and rust fell constantly. Every sound echoed. Every shadow could hide an enemy. Hours passed. They reached a control room, filled with half-working panels and blinking screens. Eli quickly tapped keys, rerouting power. Sparks flew. One screen exploded. Mira shielded the group. Finally, the systems hummed steadily. Lights shone. Air flowed. The group could breathe easier, for now. They had survived another test, but Eli looked at the monitors and froze. A message appeared. Interesting species. Adaptation noted. Observation continues. Mira put a hand on his shoulder. They are learning, but so are we. Eli nodded. We teach by surviving, by helping, by being human. Outside, far in space, silent eyes watched. Machines recorded every movement, every choice, but they could not measure one thing: humanity. And humanity, small and fragile, continued to move, to help, and to survive. Metal tore apart somewhere far above. The floor shook hard enough to throw everyone off balance. Panels fell from the ceiling. Pipes burst, filling the corridor with steam. Red warning lights flashed faster, brighter, like a heartbeat racing toward failure. Eli felt the ground drop under his feet. The corridor split. Not by choice, but by force. A blast ripped through the wall between Eli and Mira. Fire and smoke exploded outward. Eli was thrown backward, hitting the floor hard. His head rang, his vision blurred. When the smoke cleared, the corridor was gone. A wall of broken metal and fire stood between them. "Mira!" Eli shouted. No answer. He tried to stand. Pain shot through his side. He ignored it and staggered forward. Flames blocked the way. The heat was too strong. "Mira!" he shouted again. Still nothing. The station groaned again, louder than before. Behind him, frightened voices rose. The small group that had followed him looked to him now. Injured, shaking, terrified. Eli forced himself to breathe. "She is alive," he said, though he did not know. "We move. Now."
He turned away from the fire.
On the other side of the broken corridor, Mira lay on the floor, stunned. Her ears rang. Smoke burned her lungs. She pushed herself up slowly. "Mira," someone whispered. She turned. A few aliens had been thrown with her into a different passage. Some were bleeding. One small child cried softly. Eli was gone. For a moment, fear threatened to take her breath. Then she stood. "We move," she said firmly. "We do not stop." The two paths moved away from each other, deeper into the station. Eli's path sloped downward. Gravity felt uneven. Lights flickered and died, leaving only darkness and a weak glow of emergency strips on the floor. He guided the group slowly, checking injuries as they walked. One of the aliens collapsed. Eli knelt. The being's breathing was shallow. There was a deep wound across the chest. Too deep. Eli pressed his hands down, trying to slow the bleeding. The alien looked at him, eyes wide with fear. "I will stay," the alien whispered. Eli shook his head. "No. We go together." But the alien's grip loosened. The breathing stopped. The group went silent. Eli closed the alien's eyes. "We keep moving," he said quietly. Far above, Mira guided her group through a narrow shaft. Radiation warnings flashed on the walls. The air burned her throat. She tore open protective wraps and handed them out. "Cover your mouths," she said. "Stay close." The path ahead glowed faint green, a reactor leak. It was dangerous. It was also the only way. She led them through. Every step hurt. Her skin prickled. Her vision blurred. One alien stumbled and fell. Mira dragged him up, ignoring the pain screaming through her body. On Eli's side, the corridor opened into a wide chamber filled with broken machines. Some still sparked, others hummed weakly. Eli moved to a console. Power readings were unstable. Structural integrity was falling. The station was dying. Then he saw it. A new signal on his screen. Not from the attackers, from far away. From beyond the station, he froze. The message was short. Cold. Primary observation complete. Secondary target confirmed. Coordinates followed. Human coordinates. Eli's hands trembled. "Earth?" he whispered. The enemy was not just watching the station. They had chosen their next lesson. Mira felt it too, though she did not know why. A deep sense of wrongness crawled through her chest. Her group reached a small medical bay, half destroyed but still sealed. She forced the door open and moved everyone inside. She treated burns, cleaned wounds, gave what little medicine she had left. Her hand shook now, not from fear, from knowing something terrible was coming. A loud clang echoed outside, heavy footsteps. Different from before. Slower, heavier, a new kind of enemy. The door began to glow red. "They will break through," one alien whispered. Mira looked around the room. No weapons, no escape. She stepped forward and stood in front of the door. "Stay behind me," she said. The door exploded inward. The figure that stepped through was taller than any they had seen. Its armor was thicker, darker. Its eyes burned bright white. Energy rolled off it in waves. It raised its weapon. Mira did not move. She lifted her empty hands. The creature paused. It tilted its head, studying her. She met its gaze. Not with fear, with calm, with defiance. On Eli's side, alarms screamed. The chamber shook as part of the ceiling collapsed. Dust filled the air. Eli grabbed a nearby lever and pulled. Emergency barriers slammed down just as energy fire tore through the space. He barely escaped, dragging two injured aliens into a side passage. The enemy was everywhere now. Smarter, focused. They were no longer testing randomly. They were hunting humans. Mira's attacker lowered its weapon slightly. It stepped closer, scanned her, scanned the injured behind her. Its voice echoed inside the room, mechanical and cold. "Why do you protect them?" Mira swallowed. "Because they are alive," she said. "Because someone must." The creature studied her longer. Then it turned. It left. The door sealed behind it. The room went silent. The alien stared at Mira in disbelief. She sank to her knees, breath shaking. Eli crawled through a narrow duct, dragging himself forward through pain. His side burned. Blood soaked his shirt. He reached a junction and dropped down into a maintenance room. He locked the door behind him and collapsed. For a moment he thought of giving up. Then he saw Mira's face in his mind. He stood. He patched his wound badly, ignoring the pain. He moved on. The station began to drift. Gravity shifted again. On Mira's side, the medical bay lost power. Lights went out. Only darkness remained. She guided the group out, back into the radiation-lit corridor. The station shook violently. A voice echoed through broken speakers. Orbital decay detected. Collision course confirmed. The station was falling toward a dead star. Time was running out. Eli reached a control node near the station's spine. The core systems here were old, but powerful. He began rerouting power, bypassing damage. Sweat poured down his face. If he could stabilize the core, even briefly, parts of the station could survive. He heard footsteps. He did not look back. Mira led her group into a wide chamber filled with escape pods. Most were destroyed. A few still worked. Not enough. She checked power levels. Barely functional. She began loading the injured bud. She paused. Eli was not there. Her chest tightened. "I will find him," she whispered to herself. She sealed the pod doors and launched them manually, sending the injured away. She turned back into the burning station alone. Eli finished the override. Power surged. Lights flared across several decks. Life support returned in patches. He smiled weakly. Then the enemy struck. A blast tore through the wall. Eli was thrown across the room. The tall, armored figure stepped through the smoke. It raised its weapon. "You interfere?" It said. "Yes," Eli replied, coughing. "I do." The weapon charged. Then another blast hit. From the side, the figure staggered. Mira stepped into the room, holding a stolen tool sparking with energy. She stood beside Eli. For a moment they only looked at each other, alive. Then the station shook harder than ever before. The enemy retreated, pulled away by an emergency force as the core stabilized. Eli laughed softly, exhausted. Mira grabbed his arm. "We don't have much time." "I know," he said. "They know about Earth." Her face went pale. "They are coming," he said. She looked up at the burning station, at the stars beyond. "Then we warned them," she said. "No matter the cost." Far away, fleets began to move. The test was over. The judgment was coming. Fragments of warning, location, movement, and fear raced through damaged relays and weak transmitters. Most signals died before they reached open space. Some bent and twisted through old satellites and forgotten channels. One signal survived. It reached human space hours later. On Earth, the sky was calm. Cities slept. Lights glowed softly along the dark curve of the planet. No alarms rang. No fleets moved. Humanity did not know it was already chosen until the signal arrived. It was incomplete, shaking, scarred by interference. But it was clear enough. Unknown force. Station attack. Observation complete. Earth marked. Human command centers woke fast. Screens lit up. Voices filled rooms. Fear spread quickly, but not as panic. Humans had learned long ago that panic killed faster than any enemy. The truth was simple and terrible. Humanity could not win a war. Their fleets were small. Their weapons were weak compared to what the message described. There was no time to build more. No allies bound by treaty. No shields strong enough. A vote was called. Not of leaders only, of everyone. Across Earth and its colonies, the message played. Clear language. No lies. We are not strong. We are not ready. But we are seen. The enemy is coming. Silence followed. Then something unexpected happened. People volunteered. Not soldiers. Civilians. Pilots with cargo ships. Engineers with repair craft. Doctors with hospital transports. Families with old travel vessels that had not flown in years. They did not bring weapons. They brought supplies. They brought people. They brought themselves. In the broken station, Eli and Mira worked without rest. The station drifted closer to the dead star. Gravity pulled unevenly now. Some decks were crushed. Others froze. Fires burned without air, then died. They had little time. Eli patched the last transmitter by hand, cutting his fingers on sharp metal. Blood floated in small red drops before sticking to the console. Mira held the power line steady while it sparked and burned. "It will overload," she said. "I know," Eli replied, "but it will be enough." The final message sent. Then the system died. Silence fell. They sat on the floor, exhausted, backs against the wall. "We did it," Mira said softly. "We warned them," Eli replied. "Now it is up to them." The station shook again. They stood. "No rest yet," Mira said. "No," Eli agreed. They moved. Throughout the station, humans and aliens worked together now. Not because of orders, because they had learned from watching. Humans shared tools, shared food, shared paths through danger. Large aliens carried small ones. Small ones guided through narrow ways. No one asked who was stronger. Only who needed help. The enemy returned. Not in small groups, in force. Their ships appeared around the station like dark stars, silent, watching. They did not fire. They waited. Eli saw them on a cracked screen. They are confident, he said. They think this is already over. Mira watched quietly. They don't understand us, she said. No, Ally agreed. They understand strength, not connection. The station's remaining defenses came online briefly, weak, broken, useless against what waited outside. Then another signal arrived, from deep space, not hostile, human. Eli stared at the screen. Mira's breath caught. Dozens of small ships appeared on the display. Then hundreds, then thousands. Not warships, civilian craft, cargo haulers, medical transports, old mining ships, passenger vessels filled beyond safe limits. They formed no tight formation, no battle line. They simply arrived. The enemy ships shifted. Sensors scanned, weapons charged, then paused. The human ships did not raise shields. They did not lock weapons. They broadcast one message. We are here. The enemy could not understand this. Why come unarmed? Why come in such numbers? Why risk everything? On Earth, more ships launched. People hugged families goodbye. Some cried, some smiled. Many said nothing at all. They knew they might not return. They went anyway. Near the station, the enemy opened a channel. You are weak, the enemy voice said. Leave. This place is finished, a human pilot responded. No, she said simply. Another voice joined. Then another, then hundreds, different languages, same meaning. We stay. The enemy fired a warning shot. A beam cut through empty space near the human ships. No one moved. No one fled. Eli watched from the station. Mira stood beside him. They will die, Eli whispered. Maybe, Mira said, but not alone. The enemy hesitated. Their calculations did not account for this. Civilian ships moved closer, forming a loose ring around the station. Smaller ships docked. People boarded the broken structure to help evacuate survivors. Humans carried aliens. Aliens carried humans. No one asked permission. The enemy watched. Their weapons remained charged. But they did not fire. More ships arrived. Not only human, alien vessels. Small ones first. Trade ships, personal craft, then larger. Species who had watched humans before, who had been helped in the station, who had survived because of quiet hands and calm voices. They did not come as armies. They came as people. The enemy voice returned. Why do you gather? It demanded. A human answered, because you chose us. And when you choose one, you choose all. Silence followed. The enemy ships shifted position again. Their systems struggled. They were built to break fleets, to crush command, to end resistance. They were not built for this. For refusal, for unity without force, for a wall made of people instead of weapons. Inside the station, evacuation continued. Escape pods launched, ships pulled away with survivors aboard. Eli helped reroute power one last time to hold the structure together. Mira guided the injured into departing ships. She paused when she saw a small alien child she had treated earlier. The child waved. Mira waved back. Then the child was gone. The station began to tear apart. Eli and Mira boarded the last transport. As it pulled away, the dead star's gravity finally claimed the station. Metal twisted. Lights went out. The place where fear had begun vanished into fire and darkness. The human and allied ships pulled back. The enemy ships remained. They did not follow. They did not attack. They turned away. One by one. Their mission had failed, not because they were defeated, but because they could not continue. Humanity had not fought. Humanity had not won. Humanity had refused to be alone. Eli watched the enemy retreat on the screen. "Is it over?" he asked. Mira shook her head. "No," she said, "but it has changed." Around them, ships formed new paths, new routes, new connections. No one gave orders. They did not need to. Far away, deep in space, the enemy recorded the outcome. Test results logged. Strength insufficient. Weapons irrelevant. Bond unknown. Threat level reclassified. Humanity was no longer small. Not in numbers, not in meaning. The transport turned toward Earth. Eli leaned back, exhausted. Mira closed her eyes. The smallest force had stood. Not with fire, but with hearts. And the galaxy had felt it. The stars were quiet. The human and allied ships drifted in space, still forming a protective circle around the remnants of the station. Smoke rose from distant decks, glowing faintly against the black void. The dead station had become a symbol, not of defeat, but of survival. Eli sat in the command cabin of a small transport. His hands rested on his knees, tired but steady. Mira stood near the viewport, eyes scanning the darkness outside. Both were silent, watching the stars, waiting, thinking. "It is over," Eli whispered.
No, Mira replied. Not over.
"Just different." He looked at her. She was right. The enemy had retreated, but that was not victory in the usual sense. They had learned something new. Humans had survived not by force, but by connection. They had shown that life itself, carried by hands and hearts, could be stronger than fleets or weapons. Outside, human ships carried the wounded. They carried supplies. They carried small aliens, some frightened, some grateful. They did not move as one army. They moved as many hands reaching toward a single goal: life. Small alien ships followed. Traders, explorers, civilians from worlds who had been helped before. They did not ask for leadership. They did not ask for orders. They simply acted, and their actions strengthened humanity's fragile wall. Eli leaned back. "Do you think they understand?" he asked softly. "Some," Mira said. "Some will never understand. Some will. But it does not matter. What matters is what we do." The transport drifted closer to the human fleet. Ships large and small, old and new, moved in unison without commands. It was a strange pattern, chaotic yet purposeful. Every ship carried hope. Every pilot carried courage. Eli remembered the station. He remembered every hallway, every shadow, every small life saved by careful hands. He thought of the child Mira had carried, the small aliens who had watched in disbelief as humans helped one another. He thought of the fallen, and the ones they could not save. "Every choice matters," he said quietly. Mira nodded. "And we are not done yet." They approached Earth's orbit. The planet glowed softly. Cities flickered like fireflies. Humans did not yet know what had happened. Most were unaware of how close the galaxy had come to marking Earth as a target. The human fleet began to break formation, returning to spaceports, landing zones, and stations. Small ships returned to carry more survivors, more help, more hope. In the command cabin, Eli tapped a console. A list of injured and rescued flashed across the screen. Hundreds. Thousands. Names, species, worlds all mixed together. He smiled faintly. "Look at this," he said to Mira. "We are small, weak. But they came. They all came." She looked at the display. Her lips curved in a quiet smile. "It is not strength alone," she said. "It is the bond we build. That is what makes us strong." Eli nodded. Outside, the enemy fleet continued to retreat, fading into the blackness. They had learned something they could not measure, they could not calculate. Humanity had survived by refusing to fight in the way the enemy expected. They had survived by protecting not only themselves, but others. And in doing so, they had changed the galaxy. The transport moved closer to the fleet. Docking procedures began. Ships linked together, forming channels of movement. Injured were transferred. Supplies were delivered. Engineers worked quickly to repair damaged vessels. Everyone acted. No one waited for orders. Every small decision added to the whole. Mira helped a small alien onto a medical ship. The creature looked at her with wide eyes. "Why do you help us?" it asked in broken words. "Because life matters," Mira said simply. "Because someone must do it." The alien nodded slowly. It did not fully understand. It did not need to. The act itself was enough. Eli stepped out of the cabin to help a group of children onto a ship. They had been rescued from the station, dirty, frightened, exhausted. Each one carried a small piece of hope in their hands. The adults who accompanied them followed quietly, grateful for the humans who had saved them. "Do you think they will come back?" one of the children asked. Eli looked at the stars. "Some will," he said. "Some may not. But we try anyway."
Mira returned to the cabin.
She stood beside Eli. The view of space stretched before them. Distant stars blinked softly. The enemy fleet had vanished beyond sensors. The galaxy was quiet again. Eli exhaled. "We survived," he said. "Yes," Mira replied. "But that is only the beginning. Others will watch now. Others will see what we do, and some will follow." The transport moved slowly toward Earth. The planet glowed beneath them. Cities sparkled with life. Humans prepared to welcome back those who had gone into space, those who had acted without weapons, without force, without fear. Across the galaxy, small acts of bravery spread. Aliens who had seen humans work together began to share stories. They told of calm hands saving lives. They told of courage without weapons. They told of people who refused to fight alone, who linked themselves to others. The enemy recorded these reports, calculated probabilities, adjusted strategies. But one thing they could not calculate: the human bond. Eli and Mira moved through the transport. They passed tired pilots, exhausted engineers, relieved survivors. Everyone worked together, sharing tasks, carrying what was needed, helping those who could not help themselves. A young alien child tugged on Mira's sleeve. "Will it happen again?" the child asked. Mira knelt. "Maybe," she said, "but we will be ready. Not with weapons alone, but with hearts. That is what matters."
Eli nodded. The galaxy may be full of enemies,
But it is also full of friends. We only have to connect them. Ships landed on stations around Earth. Pilots reported safely. Families reunited. Survivors told their stories. The tale of humanity's small fleet and its unarmed courage spread quickly. Humans were no longer seen as weak. They were seen as a bond, as a link between worlds. Eli and Mira finally rested. They sat side by side, watching Earth. The planet's glow reflected in their eyes. Quiet words passed between them. Small laughter, soft and honest. "We did not fight like they expected," Eli said. "No," Mira replied, "and that is why we survived." Outside, fleets from other species drifted near Earth, not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as friends, allies, and witnesses. Some had helped humans before. Others had learned from the courage of a small species acting as one. The enemy fleet had disappeared, not destroyed, not defeated. But the lesson was clear. Humanity could not be crushed with force alone. It could be slowed, threatened, watched, but not broken. The smallest force had become the strongest bond.
Eli looked at Mira. "We may be small," he said.
"But we are not alone." "No," she said, "and we never will be." The stars stretched ahead. Endless, quiet, waiting. But humanity had shown a new way. Not by building larger fleets, not by wielding stronger weapons, but by connecting with others, by acting together, by protecting life wherever it was found. In space, far from Earth, a small human fleet moved. Ships large and small, civilian and military. Pilots, engineers, doctors, families. They carried what mattered most: people, life, hope, courage. And the galaxy noticed. Eli and Mira watched from the bridge. Their hands brushed. Neither spoke, but neither needed to. Two hearts, one humanity. The smallest force had survived. The strongest bond had been formed. And the galaxy would never forget. Far away, silent observers recorded every detail. Machines calculated probabilities. Eyes scanned patterns. But one truth could not be measured: connection. courage, compassion. Strength was not in the size of weapons. It was in the size of hearts. Eli leaned back, exhausted but alive. Mira closed her eyes. Around them ships hummed softly. Lives were safe. For now. The future was uncertain, but a new path had been opened. Humanity would walk it together, and the galaxy would follow. The end.